formally kick off, obviously, welcome to Thoughts on Thursday, another season 2. This is now episode 3 in the language of Netflix. So really excited to be touching a really important part of our hotel experience, obviously guest relations and how guest relations will be changing kind of post pandemic.
Yeah, today we are going to speak about what this pandemic world is bringing to us in terms of guest relation, let's say. And we decided with James and with Lisa, we should be as well part of the presentation today, but she could not join today, so maybe for the next time, to use the first slide of this presentation regarding the guest profiles that we are, let's say, facing at the moment. Yes. Okay, so one of the guest segments that we were analyzing were the digital nomads. You know that this segment was already increasing before the pandemic phase. So we're speaking about people, mainly freelancer working in remote, so looking for space, for co-working space where they can work. It's a segment which is mainly using, of course, technologies. And they were picking up spaces as well, looking for inspiration. So the decor, the ambience, the scent, and as well the music was really important for them to get inspired to choose one location. The local community, because as told, the travel restriction practically left us to work just with the local community. And it's for me, it was really interesting to make this relationship with the local people even more strict, even more close, no? And of course, this kind of segment is completely different with the people we were used to work, especially in the luxury segment. First factor, for example, is the price sensitivity. I mean, if you were allowed before as a luxury hotel to price your beer maybe at 6-7 euros, now with the local market, you cannot do it because the price sensitivity is pretty high. And then we have another segment that we are still analyzing, which is the luxury consumer. It's in my opinion, it's one of the segments which is really highly impacted by the pandemic, because this segment is really dropping down. And we saw as well that after the lockdown, it's a kind of market that is not recovering as other markets are recovering. For example, the economy scale, especially in China, when they released the lockdown, the economy scale was really going up, while the luxury was still in a bad shape. In effect, we read some days ago regarding a study done by Alta Gamma together with Boston Consulting and Bernstein, that the luxury segment in sales should drop this year between 30 and 40 billion of euros, which is really huge impact worldwide. And the last segment, which is pretty similar to the second one, will be the domestic travel. I mean, everyone knows that since we cannot really fly, we cannot really go to other countries, we can count just on the domestic business that we have in each country. And today in the morning, it was funny to realize that we have in Instagram at the moment more than almost 5 million posts with the hashtag staycation. So which means that the people are really staying in their own country for tourism.
Awesome, Angelo. Yeah, no surprise. That was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely tons of stuff to think about there. I have loads of questions, but I'll hold off till if the conversation dies down. So if Hilton man against Hilton man, don't make it too tricky for him. Or do you want me to ask it?
Okay, I think just a quick question for Angelo, coming in from another hospitality person, which is myself, is if you can share with us about your training currently happening in terms of, is it now being on the job? Is it being off the job? Of course, the hotel is still a lot of on the job, but, keeping in mind all the stuff which is going on, how has it impacted your training style, your training approach? Are you using more technology? Are you using videos, stuff like that? So maybe something which you can share with everybody else too.
Yeah, really good question. Well, when we opened the hotel, the first training were classroom training, and they were mainly related to the safe initiative put in place. And we did practically 2 sessions. the first day and the second day, each one of 8 hours, as well hosting people which were not hoteliers, so people which were of course were as well important from point of view of knowledge of the virus. So for us, it was really important to communicate to the team which initiative they need to put in place, the hygiene initiative, how they can as well communicate with the guests, and as well as small touches. I mean, sometimes is regarding how do you clean properly the cutlery, or for example, how do you present a bottle of olive oil to the table, or do you clean the bottle in front of the guest to make sure that the guest is experiencing that you care about the safety initiative. Of course.
Thanks, Angelo. A question I've got, I mean, so yeah, what you're describing there, I can't even imagine the breadth of practical training, but some of your points were really were much more cultural, you know, and it's much more about actually be a solution finder, right? So what kind of new ideas can we be putting in front of the hotel or for the guests themselves, and then kind of humanizing your team or being more responsive, perhaps 24 hours than perhaps we were. So some of those feel like an evolution from maybe kind of, you know, traditional hoteliering, but some of them feel like quite a revolution. So how do you get the team ready for that? Do you know, is it met with resistance? Do you actually train it? Do you just talk about what works? Like, how have you encouraged that culture shift?
Well, it's first I think that it's to speak to the team about the current situation, and they realize that it's something outside of the normal situation. And if it's something outside of the normal situation, you need to something that you were not used to do. And I don't think it's really a revolution. It's just switching a little bit of mindset of what were you doing before, and maybe you realize now that it was not really correct. What I can tell you, for example, regarding table setup in the restaurant. Before, they were not used to move the table around as we did this year. And when they say, no, I want to change the setup and so on, the reply maybe was not. But this year, since the business is really low, you need to catch each business coming around. So they will say yes, because they understand the situation. And they understand that if you say no to this guest, there will be not another one waiting for you at the door.
Yeah. No, good shout. Pauline, I think you had a quick question.
Yeah. So my question was, how do you deal with guests that are afraid of shared spaces now or social interactions? So due to COVID, I think a lot of behaviors have changed. So how would you offer them personalized service? And also, how is it going to be feasible in the long run if a lot of guests are acting the same way?
Regarding our hotel, I have to say that our lobby area is pretty big to give us the opportunity to privatize some spaces, or at least that you have more than the normal social distance that you can give to them. Then it's a question of pricing, because we have as well some people asking for private dining space or private space to meet each other. And then it's really to know how much it costs to you and which is your lowest price that you can offer to them in order to give this experience.
I mean, it does bring me to a quick question actually that I had. Angelo, what kind of technology journey have you been on in the last 6 months, I suppose, as a leader, but also just practically? Like, what has the hotel actually been able to do kind of since March to put more digital tools in front of guests at different moments? I'd love to kind of hear what examples you've got, and also perhaps what went well and what went badly.
Well, the first one that everyone was doing is the QR code for the menu. I mean, you don't see any more menu in paper, you see just in QR code. And I have to say that we were positively impressed how as well generation older than us could react positively to this. I mean, we had as well, let's say, grandpa and grandma coming to the restaurant, having no challenge at all to use this. And from operational point of view, I have to say that it's useful, it's easier, and you can change even quicker your pricing strategy and the layout, the content, and so on. For example, we changed our wine list practically each week according to the stock that we had. And it was fast because you don't need anymore to wait to print it. You don't have any cost for printing it and so on. One was, let's say, the easiest change that we made in terms of digitalization.
Martin, I think you probably feel quite strongly about this.
Oh, I do feel strongly about it because, I'm sorry, but look, I like technology as much as the next one. Perhaps not as much as Andrew, but it can add value, okay? But so, as I said, look, where does the value lie, right? So the value lies where technology adds value to a guest stay or to a hotel in the sense that it automates things that are essentially useless, all right? Or like, as I said, filling in a registration card manually should really be a thing of the past, okay? This should be done by an iPad. I even give you those Marriott robots, right? I mean, bringing up stuff that guests have forgotten, toothbrushes, newspapers. This is a waste of human greatness, all right? Leave it to the robots. But in the end, okay, like, look, really what makes hotel stays, and particularly in terms of guest relations, what really makes guest relations is personality, is this human interaction. And that's what guests are looking for, and that's what guests are coming back to for hotels, all other things being equal, okay? And when I talk about guest relations, I'm also talking about concierges and the whole sort of front-facing stuff. I think really in a world where brands are getting more and more similar type of things, right? What people are coming back to hotels for is people, right? So that's my only sort of my main.
Yeah, really interesting. Laura, I can see you've got some chats going on, but I'm kind of missing them. Could you bring us up to speed? What have you been chatting about in the sidebar?
I was saying about the pets, and I mean that can be used for what I wanted to say. For example, to add to that is if you have a glitch, if you have a problem, something went wrong, then you could use the data on file to surprise the guest with something. Something went wrong, they treat their pet, the guest will be super happy, or that it's their kid's birthday and they had a horrible check-in, and then you surprise, you provide a big surprise in the room for their kid, and it just makes their day because the kid is the most important part of their life, right? So that was one further idea. And then I went to visit this new hotel apartment concept here in Helsinki, Finland, and there we had common spaces and the staff actually lived there as well, and it was very, very casual. So then that brings another kind of guest relations where you know everything about the guest because you're their friend.
Bay, you had a question, kind of going with kind of our adjacencies again.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. I just wanted to, get a little bit more on that topic of, Airbnb, since I noticed that they're also growing to the area of providing experiences, even if people don't stay in any accommodation, but still providing this offline or online experience. And I think that's also quite interesting. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
I mean, it's almost like a whole separate segment of travel, isn't it? This kind of in-destination events and attractions has been a huge explosion area. There's now whole OTAs dedicated to that. And you're right. That's what Airbnb are trying to do, right? This ultimate travel company, and right alongside their hosting and homes, they want to have all these kind of experiences and stuff. But if you chat to the big OTAs, it's really interesting because that long tail of, come and have dinner with your nana or be shown around Milan by someone on a scooter, it's all really long tail stuff. What sells is still Harry Potter World, the Tower of London, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, personally, I think that the hotel industry could absolutely do more to help curate the stay more than just the hotel room. I think that's something I've always love to chat about. I guess I'll just wrap up. I'm conscious of people's time. Firstly, Angelo, thank you. Absolutely, that is fantastic to steer us through a really interesting discussion, I think, from a live hotel. I'm sure you're going to leave us now and go back to a busy team and busy work. So it's fantastic to hear kind of from life on the ground. Thank you, everyone. We've got a really fun session next week on entrepreneurship. So Sophia and Mia, who've been listening in today, will be guiding us through their adventures in startup land. Massively passionate topic of mine. Please kind of share among your friends, keep growing the community, and look forward to catching everyone same time next Thursday. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Angelo. Bye, everyone.
Guys. Bye-bye.